Hey, Dad, look at me. Think back and talk to me. Did I grow up according to plan? Hi, welcome back to Getting Stoked. On this episode, okay. Oh no, I spilled coffee everywhere. Cut to later on. Hey, we got it figured out, guys. We cleaned up the coffee, and I think everything is only marginally damaged, so we should be good. Anyway, on this episode, I've got LeBlanc from Sonoran Chorus, someone who I've been I was close friends with throughout high school, and then we just kind of fell off and did our own thing, and now we're rekindling. Now, I will give a little bit of a disclaimer into this episode. I had to do a lot of editing because we should have caught up before the podcast, but we didn't. So there's a lot of name dropping of like old people we went to high school with who we're probably still connected with online. So I had to go through and cut a lot of that out. There's a lot of really fucking shitty stories that we told about our friends, and you know, it's funny, but it's probably not something that we should release. So if I forgot anybody and there's still names in there, just, hey man, be a good sport. Everybody's cool. We all love each other. We all grew up and got out of it, and everybody's cool and happy living lives now. So I hope you guys enjoy the podcast with LeBlanc from Sonoran Chorus. Hello, we're back from the little introduction that I did. So I have with me, as I said earlier, I'm really, really excited to have my old friend, LeBlanc, on the podcast, who I haven't seen in a while. I saw you briefly at a show in March.
Yeah, you had a release show, I think.
Yeah. And that was so nice. That was like the first time I'd seen you in years.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah.
So I think last time I hung out with you, you were like driving a badass muscle car and listening to Jimmy Eat World.
Oh shit. Yeah, I still have that car. It runs sometimes.
What is it?
It's a 86 Camaro.
Got it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I only drive in the winter. It doesn't have AC.
Oh man.
So my grandpa was nice enough to give me an old truck that has AC. So I'm off.
That's awesome. Yeah, all my memories of you. All my memories of you are shrouded in like indie rock music and muscle cars.
Sometimes under oath too.
Yeah, under oath. Or bicycles. Are you still you did the whole like repairing bicycle thing for a while, right? Do you still do that?
Yeah, I haven't ridden much just because I don't go to campus. So I miss it.
Gotcha.
But it's a kind of, I don't know. We could already start talking about 9-to-5 bullshit.
But no, we don't have to get into that. But it's just, I just thought it was funny. Like I always think about that. I was so let's see. Okay, what are one of the first things that obviously so just a little bit of backstory. I met Alex, or it's weird to talk about them when they're right in front of me. I met you sophomore year of high school. I knew of you freshman year, but I think sophomore year was when I actually like started talking to you.
Yeah, did you take Watson's honors physics?
Yep. Yes. No. Not honors physics. Okay. No, I think we just met like at lunch or through friends or something like that. I don't think we were ever in
probably at the lunch table. Yeah. Andrew and exactly. Yeah, Andrew. You and I had the same lunch period. Yes. I think.
Yeah, because I was always hanging out with all those guys.
Yeah, the Higley L kids.
Yeah. So and then we kind of jammed around for a little bit, and my head was too far up my ass to like really understand the music that you were playing at the time. Which is totally the case, which is absolutely what happened.
That's not what happened.
That's totally what happened.
Remember I fucking was hanging out with Tanner?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now you want to cancel the podcast.
That's hilarious. Okay, so anyway, enough about things that like nobody else understands. The first thing that I wanted to ask you was, how did the music that you were fiddling around with when we were hanging out in your bedroom, like jamming on stuff, how did that become Sonoran Chorus? Like, is there a huge gap in between? Because I don't know where your music progressed, because I like stopped at that point. Like,
yeah, I didn't. I wrote some more stuff into my senior year because basically we jammed for 2011, I think. Mostly. Yeah. Uh-huh. And then I went off to school and I was playing an acoustic guitar in my dorm most of the time. And then I picked up my electric again when I switched dorms because the walls were thicker. And I got my amp fixed and stuff. So I started playing again, and I was just there was a good time where I was just like 2 years I was just diddling around on my acoustic guitar, and then after that I was like actually learning covers sometimes because that was something I was really bad at doing.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
I was like, oh, I should learn how other people play guitar so I can at least get an idea of what everyone's thinking here. And then I moved in. I did not buy. I moved into a house with some friends, and so I could finally, turn my amp up pretty decent. And so I bought my first tube amp. I got a Fender Bassman.
Nice. I love the Bassmans.
Oh shit, it's like the coolest fucking thing. I got a twin too, but like I live off the Bassman. Like the thing's wicked. So yeah, I was playing through that for a while, and I was trying to do some psych stuff with a friend. But I guess we had just too much of a gap. Yeah,
the music that you were playing even when we were jamming together was very kind of groovy and kind of like oddly psychedelic in a similar way, I feel like.
Well, we were jamming like some like, I don't know, thrashy blues.
Yeah, it was a blast. Yeah,
it was awesome because we were just playing. I mean, we had fit pretty well.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I hung out with Damon Dominguez one day. I'd recorded Leo DeCap a few times, and like Damon and I were buddies, but like we didn't know each other very well. Which is good guy, kind of stuff. And he was like, hey, I want to make a new band. And then that was that. So I remember first Sonoran Chorus song I wrote was after listening to a lot of the Thin Bloods and Petty Things. And that's just kind of, it was just like, it definitely went back to what I was writing before.
Gotcha.
I wasn't trying to, I guess if you listen to Pike, that's like what we were jamming.
I don't know them.
Really,
I don't know them. Yeah. I'm not super like in on all of the really cool indie bands, unfortunately.
Oh no, I'm not either. Pike's a song, but
sorry.
Fine.
Fuck for Hack Pike. Got it. I thought you were talking about a band. Yeah.
That's totally fine.
No, I know the EP Hack Pike. Got it.
Yeah, no, I don't know shit on indie bands either.
Yeah, I knew the song. I was like, oh, is this some like really cool obscure indie band that I don't know about? And then I remember the EP.
No.
Yeah, I totally. Well, what's really funny was that you guys, that was your first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was released within. So okay, what do you remember like? Roughly when Sonoran Chorus started?
Yeah. I was just trying to give you a clear line of like my musical history of how I started writing this stuff. And
totally.
I had to rack my brain for that, but Sonoran Chorus started January 2015.
Okay, see, this is the funny thing about Sonoran Chorus and the band that I'm in is that especially in the first year, a bunch of the things that we did or achieved or released were like right behind you guys or right near you guys. So you started in January, we started in March. You put out Hack Pike in June?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, in June. And then we put out our first EP in May of the same. So it's like always like this little thing. And I always thought it was really funny that like, oh shit, like Alex, I know Alex. Alex in a band now. This is awesome. Like
and then you were cool. Back and I was like, oh shit. Like
we both, it's so funny. Like we jammed together and then we fell away from each other and life happened. And then all of a sudden our mutual band started at the exact same time. Like that was so interesting.
Yeah, it's I feel like there's been a lot of just the whole 19 through 21 gap where everyone's just like, oh
and it just goes away.
And then like if we are still the same people we were before those things start to line up again, and it's like before you know it, I saw Luis Katsuyama at like a Tough Show once.
Dude, and I was like, fucking Luis.
I was like driving like a convertible BMW. I was like, what are you doing here, man? I was like, I just thought I'd see what was going on out here, and I was like, damn, dude. Like,
I follow him on Snapchat. Oh yeah, just give everybody a fucking like. This podcast is going to be great for like people who are interested in Sonoran Chorus, but it's really just going to be me and Alex catching up and talking about people that no one else knows. That's hilarious. I follow his Snapchat. He's a wacky dude. Like,
he's just as wacky as he ever was. Yeah, but in all his wackiness, I've always been like, oh man, he's so legitimate. Like I trust. He always knows exactly what he's talking about. There's no shit at all.
Yeah.
Luis.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I remember. Okay, so one of the things that I definitely wanted to ask you, not to jump around too much, was I remember when we started jamming. I remember you being super self-conscious about your voice. Like I only heard you sing like twice, and it was super in quite hushed tones. I was just wondering like how all of a sudden Because I just thought you were like, I remembered that. And because I remember weird shit and then I don't remember important shit. But I remember that. And I remember like, being like, oh yeah, he's definitely just going to be the guitar player. And then I saw a picture of you singing and I was like, what? Like, what's going on? Like, how did you become, are you comfortable with your voice? How did you become comfortable with your voice?
So, yeah, there was some learning experiences for sure. Because when I started singing in Sonoran Chorus, I remember clearly the first few practices where I was like, having troubles with rhythm, and then even if I could catch, I was like, well, I don't want them to actually hear me because I don't. Holy shit, it's really scary. And eventually, just with practice and Damon's sweet encouragement, I was able to, be open and sing because I was like, oh, of course I can sing in my car and stuff as anyone can. But unfortunately, before I was well practiced and able to sing, I had tried to do this is such an awful story. I took a spot at Clusterfest 4, which is like a tough thing where they booked like 30 bands. Yeah, and I played in the Secret Garden. I had these songs I'd written over the course of like a month, and the lyrics had been written 2 weeks before for like these 3 songs, and I went out and sung them for like the 5th time. And it was terrible. It was terrible.
How many people were there?
Like 15, but I knew every single one of them.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Yeah. I would rather fuck up in front of 100 strangers than 15 people who know who I am.
I mean, I was looking some of them in the eyes, and I was just like, oh shit, and then I had one friend who was like, man.
Dude, the worst thing is like we've played shows in front of friends who like awful shows in the very beginning where you could tell that they're just like pity dancing. Like,
yeah,
it's like it almost feels ironic immediately.
Yeah, I had 2 very different friends give me responses. One was like, "Dude, that was great," and I was like, like, you just lied to my face. And then I had another friend who was like, I don't want to hear about this for the rest of the day. And I was just like, shit, man. Like, so
which one do you prefer? Like, do you prefer the guy that's like pretending to like it, or the guy who's just like, yeah, I don't want to ever talk about it?
My hardest friend was my close friend.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
But he'd be like that to anyone almost probably.
That's awesome.
But so yeah, between that experience and some just practices. It came out.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I was super stoked to see that. I was like, yeah, Alex. So yeah, dude. Like, that's the worst thing is we've had like so many embarrassing shows where like I don't know what's worse, like playing to a crowd and you suck, or you're sucking and you just kind of have to muscle through it, or playing to no one. And just like hearing, we played a show at Rhythm Room once.
Oh, I have too, and I've played this type of show.
Yeah, we could hear our footsteps off the stage. Mm-hmm. Like we could hear our own breathing. Like it was so bad.
Yeah. Oh man, the Rhythm Room show that we played. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Thank God that Lunchbox exists and that 51 West exists.
What is that? I need to know what Lunchbox is.
Lunchbox is kind of like a trunk space. Just a different guy, different face running it. His name's Danny. I can't think of his last name. He plays in Bear State.
Oh, Bear State's
actually,
sick.
He doesn't play in Bear State anymore. He plays in Wax Castle, which is
I know them too.
Josh Rodriguez, who books for Select, and then frontman from Dent is in that band too.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Lunchbox they've got a screen printing setup So it used to be like a bail bonds place. So you walk in and there's a big desk, and that's where they got the screen printer set up. And then you go into the venue, and they've got a stage and everything, down to like subs, I think. And then they have like a control room, so they can track the set. Yeah, to like tape or something. I don't know if it's like real or if it's cassette, but they can track the whole set.
I've seen the name Lunchbox, but I've never like been able to figure out where it is or what it is or what. So I'm really happy you brought it up because I feel like that's the only venue in town that I'm like still in the dark on.
Yeah, it's by the Children's Hospital.
Oh, okay.
So
I know where that is.
I don't know how they do business, but I mean, like, if you want to book your own show,
I'm sure I can figure it. I'm sure I can find
Phoenix,
somebody.
And it's not trunk space.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good option.
That's good. I'm really happy that we're starting to get more of those because there was like when trunk space went down, like when they changed locations.
Yeah,
it was just 51 and house shows. That was it.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of house shows, it seems. I mean, there are now, but there was a lull.
Yeah, there was. Like, there was a lot of, like, playing a lot of nights at Rogue, like during that area, like wherever we could. Yeah. And I mean, not to say Rogue isn't great. I'm playing there on Saturday. I love that place. But at the same time, like, I play there a lot because they're always booking.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a place where it's like, hey, weekends only, man.
Yeah, totally.
I don't want to work that hard.
I played a lot of rough Tuesdays at Rogue. But yeah, so there was an era where Trunk Space went down and everyone's like, shit. And it was just 51, and we love 51, and we've always tried to do as much as we could there. But like, that was the only venue that was the only all ages space in town, aside from just like house shows. And I was super nervous. I was really nervous that the bars were gonna start taking over, like you see done in most areas in the country. And but then I heard about Lunchbox, and then Trunk Space came back, and there's like a couple little things, and then there's houses that are trying to make themselves venues, like the Compound and stuff like that, and people trying to do that. But yeah, I'm super happy that it's starting to come back now and really starting to feel alive again.
Yeah. They do. I mean, they've got a pretty good variety of like what goes on there. I mean, there's a whole lot of electronic that's been going on there.
Yeah. Well, what were some things that really helped support you guys in the beginning, like venues or people or bands or whatever?
Well, our first show was a house show.
Where at?
There's this band called Toast Ghost. We played at their house.
Okay.
It was in the
Toast Ghost.
Like it was off Hardy.
Okay.
South of University, somewhere over there. The house only had fucking 2-prong outlets.
What?
Yeah, dude. I don't know if you've ever been shocked by a guitar amp.
I have not.
But or not a guitar amp. So the guitar amp is ungrounded. So if you touch the mic, it like completes ground.
I've been shocked by many a mic, but not a guitar, not amps.
Yeah. So we had to like find an adapter and then plug all of our shit into like one ungrounded. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
We played a show in Denver once where we had to. Someone literally like took off their beanie and put it on top of the microphone.
Yeah. Beanies and socks.
Yes.
For sure. So we played that show, and I don't really remember what went down after that, but I mean, that was a blast. I couldn't believe how many people came out to that. Just because, I mean, the history that Damon and Joe have with Leo DeCap and
that's a super big help. That's super awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. They have. There's tons of people who come out just based on that still. Like, but I mean, Trunk Space was a huge thing.
Yeah.
Our next 2 shows are there.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to jump around. I'm gonna wait.
I'm so bad at like,
no, you're fine. You're fine. No, it's not your fault. I really want to talk about like the now of Sonoran Chorus so bad, but first I want to talk because I haven't really even got to talk to you about like the band that you were kicking ass in. So I want to ask all these questions first, and then we'll get to the mysterious departure, and then we'll talk about the because I guess that's so like that's really what I want to talk about the most. So just like cool venues, Trunk Space, house shows, and having them being in that band really helped out.
Yeah, that and I mean we were officers in Tough at the time, so between that and the accessibility of like Trunk Space to us and houses, I mean that's really how we paid for most of our stuff was we would book our own shows.
Yeah,
and and 51 West included because we played a lot of shows at 51 West.
Yeah, for sure, 51's awesome.
And yeah, that if I could recommend something to anyone, like it's just booking at 51 West, booking house shows, booking Trunk Space. If you get some good bands that are friends and you get a good draw, it's crazy because you can pay, you pay the venue, you can pay all the bands the amount of money that they're like, whoa, you know, you're like $40, like, oh, cool beer,
Yeah.
You give them like 60 or 80 and they're like, oh, wow, that's cool. And then more than that, if you can. And then like we booked it, we sourced the PA. So say we take 150. That's how we paid for all of our recording.
That's amazing. Self-promotion is a huge deal. That's all of the best shows we've ever done. The shows that were the most like financially successful are all shows that we booked ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I mean, we try to book ourselves as like, okay, if we're headlining, we booked it ourselves. That's all. We always book our own headlining shows. Because why not? Like, why would you let somebody else like run your headliner? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
especially when
absolutely.
it's just a local. You're just a local band. Like, it's not that hard. So, so yeah, like 51 West, like that album release show was easily our biggest show, and like that was the night where it clicked, where we were like, okay, like this is definitely what we should have been doing all along, like booking our own shows, playing, and right after that, we went out of town. And we got paid for each night out of town. And that's when it clicked with us. We were already like a year in. And we were like, okay, We will now refuse to not get paid unless we agree that we're playing for free. It's some house show, whatever. If we're playing a bar, we're getting paid. That's the end of it. Because that's when we learned, like, oh, you're supposed to get paid. Mm-hmm. Like because we just like a lot of bands, and I'm sure you ran into this too. A lot of bands just like peace out after their set, or they leave at the end of the night without checking to pay. A lot of bands are real timid, artists. They don't want to like rustle any feathers or anything like that. So they just like leave and call it a night. But there's money waiting for you. Like you just have to ask for it. But that's what that's what I found usually was good with.
That's why playing Yuck is a blast. They just give you bar cuts.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I played last night. Oh, here you go. And you're just like, oh, whoa, what? You guys are whack.
That's awesome, dude. I've only played Yucca once, and it was a really, really bad, rough acoustic show with like playing to two of our friends, and that was it. We never got like a good, crazy Yucca experience just because we never played there.
Yeah, it's a fun spot.
I want to.
I mean, it's definitely strange. You definitely get like the local bar guy who like shows up and he's like, "Yeah, you guys rock," and you're like, "I know." And every band who plays here for you rocks.
Yeah, and they just corner you, man. I've been cornered by so many of those guys. One of our first shows ever, I got cornered by this like spoken word poet guy, and we all like got taken. This guy, it was at Lawn Gnome.
Yeah,
we were at Lawn Gnome, and this poet guy, he was super nice. But he like cornered each one of us individually, but like I saw him coming towards me, and I like went and did something else, and I was like we were all talking, and he eventually did catch up to me, and I was with my drummer, so I was just like, oh hey man, I'll be right back. I just left them. It's just like you can deal with it. But I think, man, being social, especially being social where people are drinking,
yeah,
you get a lot of that.
I mean, I feel, it's just. It's hard to tell what they want to talk about. Because, I mean, you talk to artists, I talk to artists. Yeah. And unless I have a very specific question, I have to ask myself if I should be talking to them.
Yeah,
you changed my life. Or like, hey, thanks for that kick-ass album. If you can say that, they'll be like, oh, cool, thanks. And but if you're like, hey, I really needed that album, thank you. And then you just stand there, they're like, yeah, man. So like, I try not to do that. So then when I get that, I'm like, man, I don't know how I feel. I've done this.
Yeah, dude. Last night, do you know Listener?
I know that voice. That's
the voice. Yeah. We worked a show for them last night at 51.
Cool.
And they were really, really cool. And I said that. I said pretty much the same exact thing, like about like how much your music means to me, like to the guy. And he, first of all, way bigger than you imagine. Like tall, height and width, much bigger than you imagine. So he's just kind of like, he's got this big mustache. Like he's just really, he looks like Charlie Bronson. Like he's
he does.
And like, so I told him that, and he just gave me like this great, like great smile, and then just a paternal pat on the back. And I was just like,
that's a good way to do it. Yeah.
Look, I've gotten super lucky, and all of the heroes that I've met have been really cool. But that's also because most of the heroes that I have aren't ginormo rock stars. Mm-hmm. So they're more humbled than, you know what I mean, than like your huge like arena rock guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely told Ian from Deer in the Headlights, they had their show with Gospel Claws and like Party Gardens a long time ago with his new band, the Gentle Hits. They played, and after the show I was like, hey, thank you so much, basically for existing. And he was like, yeah, like it's so good to hear that. And I was like, wow, I'm so glad. That must be so exhausting though, because like there's other people who I'm like, if I told them, I don't know what kind of reaction I'd get from them.
See, you were the first person I ever met who was interested in a local band. Like when we met in high school, the closest thing to a local band that I knew was HHA, which like, they are a local band, but they're huge. They were already huge by the time I got into them. I got into them when Knife Man came out. They were already like well on their road to success.
Man, we should have discussed that more though, because when I heard of HHA the second time, I was like, oh, that's that band that Matt listens to.
Really?
They're from here? What the hell? God damn, why didn't you tell me that?
That's hilarious. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just remember seeing the bunny cover.
Yeah.
From you somehow.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I love them, and like but here's the thing. When I found out about them, it was my cousin from Texas who told me about them. I didn't even find out about them being local. I just like this guy told me about them, and I googled them, and they're local. But you were into Deer in the Headlights, and like it's so funny that you mentioned that name because you just talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
Like they were locals, right? I'm not crazy. Okay.
Yeah, no, they definitely were.
And I remember you, and they recorded at
Flying Blanket.
Flying Blanket, who I was just talking to Celebration Guns about too. When they were on the other day, they recorded at Flying Blanket. And I remember you talking about, like, you were nerding out hardcore, like, no, dude, this band does, like, all analog stuff, and, like, they're, like, super legit, and they're locals, but they're amazing. And I was like, local bands? Like, you're into a local band? That's so niche. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't understand, like, that, like, great music is in your backyard. You just have to find it. And that was the first thing that I ever heard about.
Yeah, I used to worship that perspective so much. And then I, like, went to college, and I was like, hey, we all listen to Gospel Clause and Doing the Headlights here, right? And everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, no. And then, like, I was definitely, like, back to, like, high school again, just like, oh, well.
Yeah, dude, the first two local bands I ever heard of are During the Headlights from you and Dry River Yacht Club from somebody else many years ago. Like some chick I met like on Facebook who I never even knew in real life. Like she'd mentioned them, and again, same reaction. I was like, local band, interesting. How quaint. Like
yeah, how quaint.
Like you're so whimsical.
Oh man, that's like I miss those bands. I never got to see Dry River, but like, to me they were like. There was a point where there was a group of bands where it was like they were bar bands, except they just played Crescent. Yeah. And Crescent was just the world's biggest bar, or Phoenix's biggest bar. Yeah. Like Mergence and Dry River. And I'm like, I can't imagine going on a night like that.
I love Crescent.
Yeah.
So I've only been there once, and I had an absolutely amazing time. So one of my favorite local bands is a band called American Longspurs. And they're like an Americana, like alt country band, and they were playing with Saddles and a bunch of other like alt country bands. Oh, and the singer of Jared in the Mill was there doing a show. They're doing like a little acoustic set too, and I love that, dude. Crescent's amazing. Like we got there and I was like, ooh, this is not a nice place to be in at all. This is a really rough spot for a venue. But like when I got there, I thought it was inside. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, down the street there was a house. I don't even remember what it's called. That had like a half pipe in the backyard, and that was like 19th Ave area, and that was like you go down any further, and it was like, you know, we'd have someone would be hanging over the wall yelling at us to shut up. You hand them a beer and they go away. Like
that's awesome, dude. That's why I love Phoenix. Like I'm really bummed out that I never got to see the Firehouse, which I know a lot of people talk about on Second Roosevelt, right? Something like that. It became the Outer Space for like 3 months, and then the Outer Space called it quits too. But it was just a venue out back of like an art gallery, from what I understand. But yeah, that was supposed to be a super cool spot. I know, like that's where all the folk punk bands would play, because Phoenix has a ridiculously huge folk punk thing. Like Ramshackle Glory was from here, right? Tucson, and there's like 1,000. Like Andy Warpigs, obviously. Like we all know Andy. But
and then Human Behaviors from Tucson.
I don't know that.
They were like some kind of folk.
Yeah.
I don't want to just default to neo folk because that's kind of scary. But.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Like I don't know what it is about Phoenix that just like breeds folk punk. Like there's a lot of them.
Oh, I mean, worship of the beauty of the Southwest. I mean, that's like.
What's that?
Well, I just like, you know, you got your adults who like have like the Cocopelli houses.
Yes.
And there's lots of turquoise.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Like, you're like, okay, buddy. Like, but like, I mean, there's definitely some, what folk is all about nature, right? And it's just like there's some kind of.
It's about like raw, like I don't know. I guess folk is about raw storytelling. I guess, and oftentimes when you're poor or broke, you just have like a.
You've got the trees behind you.
Yeah. So some of the first places you started playing were like trunk space and houses and stuff like that. Like who were so you're in. Wow. My next question was, who were some of your favorite locals? And I guess is there anybody else that you were really into, like other than the band?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a lot. I mean, so many have come and gone, and were already gone. By the time I showed up, just because like my high school perspective was like, oh God, I wish I could get a fake, so I could get into Crescent, so I could see Yellow Minute or Sister Cities. And stuff like that. And that's when I was a freshman. I interned, with Bob. And by the time I was 21, those bands were gone.
Yeah.
And by the time I was 21, I was already involved with Tough, which was on a much smaller scale. We had bands like Wolves, Petty Things, Thin Bloods.
Tough, for those who don't know, is the Underground Foundation, which is run by ASU, right?
It's a university club.
Gotcha.
They have like 1 or 2 university events a year. And
Tough is legit though. Like in my band, in the circles that we run in, like, they always said, like, you want to play with Tough. You want to play Tough shows. That's where it is. That's where the action is. That's where the following is. That's where you want to go. So like Tough, like, yeah, like you say, like, had a small following, but it was a big deal. Like, I mean, I don't know if it still is. I don't see a lot of flyers for them.
Well, it just kind of moves scenes, it seems. I mean, right before I showed up, it's crazy. My current girlfriend, oh wow, I fucking did not mean to say it like that. We've been together for almost 3 years.
Okay,
congratulations. Heather, because she wasn't my girlfriend before this, so that's why.
I got you.
So before I even met her, she was going to Tough shows that were mostly hardcore shows, right? And that was not a Tough that I knew at all. When I showed up, it was garage punk
and indie bands,
right? And then by the time I was done, it was strictly local. I mean, before that, there was some outside connections, like bands from Austin and stuff, so they could get some cool bands to come through. And then now it's just a different genre. I mean, it's all now? Well, it's all like indie, DIY stuff. That's the thing. At the end of the day, it's entirely
Always.
DIY.
Totally.
But I guess more diners like bands.
I love diners so much.
Yeah.
Look at everything I have. They're the best. Or he's the best. I still haven't met him, which just drives me crazy. But he's always busy, so like I can never be like, hey Tyler, let's come on my podcast. Like, he's gonna have a 4-month tour.
I think he moved to California too.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he lives in Oakland.
Jesus Christ, man.
I think.
I just saw
I've heard.
I did a little small podcast where I talked about them briefly, but like he played a absolutely instrumental role in the band that I'm in right now. Like, if it weren't for Diners, we probably would have never been a thing, because that was like the songwriter of my band, Josh, is like, he heard them and was like, oh wow, this is amazing. And that was kind of, we don't sound like Diners at all, but like that was kind of the spark, I guess.
Yeah.
And I still never got into him. Like, for some reason I just never got it. And then I saw him open for AJJ. And I was like, dude, this is absolutely brilliant. But that's because he had like a crazy like halftime show gimmick thing going on, and it was really funny and ridiculous. And
the few times I've listened to 2 of his records, and I can't think of the song names or the names, and I've enjoyed them. But like seeing him live, man, it's just a blast to see him sing a line, and then like he looks at his guitar and he plays a nice line, and you're just like, damn, dude, that was awesome. Like, I know. And then his whole band's looking at him and looking at you, and they're all smiling, and you're just like, this is so much fun. Yeah,
they're having an absolutely amazing time. Okay, look, I'm just gonna get like right into it right now. What the fuck happened? Like, what happened with Sonoran Chorus? Because here's my perspective, and a lot of other people's perspective, and I'm sure you already know this because you're in the band. But what we saw was Sonoran Chorus was like loved, and people really were into them, and people talked about them constantly. And then I don't know, I think Dylan's listening to something outside. You should close the window.
Yeah, okay, cool.
You can hear like his trailer or something. I think he's listening to a Star Wars audiobook because he's a doofus. So anyway, so you guys were awesome, and everyone always talked about how great Sonoran Chorus is, and yada yada yada, and then it like just went away without any formal notice, and then out of nowhere, you guys posted like a new profile picture and just put ellipses. Just like it was, I mean, that's what like.
There was ellipses.
Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a new. sorry. So there was a new profile picture put up, which just like dot 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 dot, and that was it.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking.
Sorry.
No worries. Damon did that.
And everyone's like, everyone's flipped their shit. Like, if you look at the comments, everyone's like, ah. And I just like, I have to know, like, what happened? Where did you guys go? Like, what was that?
It was rough. I was at the end of my semester, so was Damon. And we had to kick out Troy.
Got it. It happens.
Yeah. We just got on Twitter one day, and some women were like, "Hey, Troy's shitty."
Wait, what happened? What?
I guess it was a Monday. That's all I remember because it was the beginning of the week. And I came home, and Damon was like, "Hey, you got to get on Twitter." And we got on, and some women in the scene were, and I don't mean to say it's some woman, but women in the scene were like, Troy's shitty to woman.
Got it.
Various stories. And the thing was that's like almost relieving is that like none of it was drastic, but it was all shitty.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's like multiple very believable stories that make up to be one like really just kind of shitty thing.
Yeah, it was very much like. Oh man.
You don't have to.
No. I mean, I guess it was suggestions, not suggestions. Jesus Christ. Coercion and like just kind of being a weirdo at shows and shit.
Got it. Some people were up in arms on Twitter about it.
Yeah, someone brought it up, and then lots of women agreed.
Wow.
And it was like, well, shit.
Yeah.
You know. Shit. So that was that.
So did you talk to him about it?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, but it was pretty much set in stone.
That makes sense.
You know, it's Tails old time.
Yeah.
You know. So we parted with Troy, and then we played 2 sets after that. One on which Joe drummed and one on which Damon drummed. And, you know, they were good. They were all right sets. It was a blast because it was, you know, it's always fun as usual. But after that, it was like, hey, we got to find a drummer. Who's going to put effort into finding a drummer? Do we even want to keep doing this? I was like, you know, pinnacle of my semester, and after that I just wanted to like go away.
Yeah.
Super bad.
Mm-hmm.
So we just took a like kind of undefined break, and I did nothing for 2 months.
That's you need that. Was that the break? Was it 2 months?
No, the break was longer than that, but I mean like I didn't like I took some time to myself, and like Damon spent some time, you know, he'd been working on a lot of his own personal songs that year, and then he put together something with Joe, where Joe was the leading force in that. That's Cooper's Revenge.
Okay, got it. See, that's the other thing. Cooper's Revenge happened, and everyone's like, okay, well, I guess Sonoran Chorus is done. It's this now.
Yeah, and I kind of was that for a while.
Yeah.
And then I'd played with Joe a few times, and I played with Damon a few times, and I was like, this is obviously still fun. You know, we obviously still mesh. We still live with each other. We still just pick up our guitars, and we're like, good time.
Oh, you guys are living with each other?
Yeah. We've lived with each other for like almost 2 years now, I think.
Oh, you still live together?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think a band that can live together is a band that can really, really make it through. Like, I always say, like, I always tell bands that are like, if I have a band on the podcast like 0 Degrees North, who're like super young and like fun and enthusiastic, I always tell them, like, tell young bands like that, tour immediately, because you need to know if these people can like hack it. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be, and not just hack like touring, but you need to be able to know if A, can you handle being around this person a lot, and B, can you handle being around this person around conflict? Like, how is this person right? Like, because anybody can get into a bedroom and practice together for a couple hours and call it a day. But how does this person react to conflict? Like, it's these things you need to figure out as early as possible. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, anyway, I feel like the earlier the better. But so if you're able to live with your band members, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, we would still play together on occasion, and after that, after a while, we had talked about putting it back together just because it was so much fun. And Joe, he talked to a few folks, and, you know, some people weren't available. Some people weren't interested. And then we were kind of like sitting there twiddling our thumbs like, oh, I guess we talked to all the drummers we could think of. And then like, sorry?
No, I was why is finding drummers such a pain in the ass?
Oh man, I don't know. Just
like,
because
it should be pretty easy. Like, I mean, almost every musician I know started off as a drummer. Like, a lot of people know how to play drums. I don't understand why, because I've had that problem a lot in my life. I don't understand why that's such a hard thing.
I don't know. I don't know how to play drums, and the way I see it is like drums, like guitar. You can pick up a guitar and you could play kind of out of tune, and you could play something cool, and you may not know how to play guitar, and you're like, yeah, check it out. Like, I just wrote a song, right? Whereas like you can't get away with that with drums.
Yeah,
you know.
Yes, that's right.
And I think that's where it's at. It's just
that's
like
a good point,
it's there's an expensive entry point, and you have to be good.
Yeah. For sure.
So
that's the most important part.
Who knows? But yeah, we all know drummers are hard to find. So Joe like totally had spaced. He's like, oh shoot, my friend Dom. He hit up Dominic Crooks. Dom came over. We played for like, I don't know, 40 minutes. He had listened to the songs beforehand, and we're like, cool. So do you want to do this again? And we did it again, and we did it again. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Nice. So you got a new drummer, and you guys got some shows booked, right?
Yeah, we've got a show November 24th at the Trunk Space. We're playing with the Nami Ozone, which is cool. I've
played
with them.
God, they're so good.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Dude, oh my God. I didn't know who they were. I had no idea who they were. I saw them at the Yab Yum Awards show, and they just destroyed me. They were amazing. And I had no idea who they were. And I talked to CJ from Paper Foxes. Do you know those guys?
No, I know one guy, I think.
Which one?
The front man.
Yeah, CJ.
CJ.
Christopher.
Oh, Christopher James Jason.
Yeah. So, love that dude. So her and I met up for lunch with him at JoBot, and we were just kind of just like hanging out, chatting or whatever. And he was telling us, I was talking about how good Nanami Ozone and he's like, yeah, well, you know why, right? And I was like, no, why? He's like, because they're all from like other amazing local bands, and I did not know any of that. He's like, so they fucking better be good. Like they're all these amazing bands. I had no idea. So I just thought they were some like brand new amazing band who was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Where'd you guys come from?
Yeah, I was like, how are you so good?
No, they're just great musicians doing a service to us by continuing to exist and.
So you're playing with Nanami. Yeah, I saw that bill. It's Nanami Ozone and a couple touring bands, right?
Yeah, there's another touring band who I can't think of.
No Parents.
And then
No Parents. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
My Alicia is listening.
And I haven't listened to No Parents. I mean, I listened to them once. I found out we were playing with them, but man, this beer is killing me.
No,
there we go. I didn't want to burp straight in the mic.
No Parents. Okay, I want to get your opinion on this because you've done a lot of promoting and things like that. You know your way around all that kind of stuff. No Parents is huge. Like in comparison to a lot of the bands, a lot of the touring bands that come through, they've got a huge local presence in Phoenix for whatever reason. Like whenever they're here, even if they're supporting, my Instagram is blowing up. Like I know tons of people who are really into them. They wanted to get on a show with us, with our album release or our EP release show that's coming up in November. They wanted to play that show the same night because it's a Friday at Trunk Space. So who doesn't want that gig, right? So, but we put it in like 4 months in advance. That's why we got it. Well, they wanted it too, but the caveat is we already have our 3 supporting acts booked, and they wanted No Parents and like another band on top of that to play. So it's like, what do you think? And obviously the decision's already been made. It's not happening. But what's your opinion on like should a band that's putting out their EP? It's like their night. They're releasing their songs like to their people or whatever. Do you think it would be wise to have like a huge band like headline it and then kind of make it their night? Or should you just kind of like, you know what I mean? You don't.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird situation. I was really torn on it. It was really hard for me to figure out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if it's a band you like and there's going to be more people there because of that, that's a great night to be like, hey, we're releasing something. And I mean, that's cool because if they want to play with you, their fans will like you, your fans will like them. People will become friends there. I don't know. It just seems to work.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about it the other day, so that's why when I saw the name on that flyer, I was like, "Oh God, that's so weird." Like they were gonna come down like a couple weeks before to hit our show, but at the same time, 6 bands is a lot, and I don't want to kick off any of the bands that we were going to be playing with already.
Oh yeah, 6 bands is.
That was the deal breaker. Like if it was just them, I would have been like, okay, you know what, 5 bands, we can stretch 5 bands, not a huge deal, like whatever. But like 6 bands, like that's a lot.
Yeah. 4 band sets are even.
Yeah, that's about. Where do you stand on that? That's about my standard. I kind of like the 4 band shows, but that's really just because I'm booking all my friends' bands and I like to see them play.
Yeah, and that's kind of how with Tough it was usually 4 bands, but
is that the way to do it?
At our house we usually would do 3 just because we're like I don't want to deal with it.
Like what's better, 4 bands playing 30 minutes or 3 bands playing 45?
Oh, I don't think anyone wants to hear a band for 45 minutes.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with that.
Unless that band like designed a 45-minute set, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, with us, it's like, hey, we're gonna play a certain amount of songs. It's gonna last about this long. You know, these are the songs we picked. But it's like, if you want to play 45 minutes, you better.
A band, in order to play 45 minutes to people who don't know your music, you have got to be a band like Toso, who just like create. Do you know them?
Yeah, I know that. I haven't seen them. I've seen them once, and it was a long time ago.
Okay, so you don't know about their whole like thing that they do? Like,
I know that they'll like change outfits and yell at people.
Yeah. Yes. They light shit on fire. They change outfits. They yell at people, but they they have a theme for each show, and it's like it intertwines with all of the songs, and it's like, oh, this is the shipwreck theme. So they like in between songs talk about how they're stuck on an island, and it sounds kind of like kitschy and kind of weird, but when you see it, it's ridiculous. It just like sucks you in immediately because they're so like sincere about it. You can tell that they were thespians or something because they're really good at it. Like, I don't know, you've got to have something more, I feel like, or just be really, really good. But
yeah, I can't remember the last house show I saw where someone played for 45 minutes.
Unless they're the headliner.
But actually, I saw Ponies recently, and they played. I think they played like the longest set I ever saw them play, and I was just like, I was totally fine with that.
Yeah, I want them. I'm gonna try to get them on. Literally every the last like 3 guests I've had on here, I've mentioned them. Like I need to get them on here because like I keep hearing about them, and they're great.
Yeah, I think they just got back in town, and I mean that whole band. They're all sweethearts. Cool? Yeah,
are they cool people?
Fucking
cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
I'll
take your word. I'll like anytime you say that somebody is nice, I immediately take your word for it. Because you're just like the nicest dude I've ever met.
And they were like when we started, we were kind of like, okay, we're gonna book with these bands, maybe. You know, these touring bands want to, pick up, and we didn't really know where we belonged. And when Ponies was trying to put us on shows, more than often, and we were like, oh, cool, someone likes us. Like, we have a home.
That's awesome.
So we started playing with them a lot, and that was I'd listened to them, quite a bit beforehand. So when they picked us up, it was like, sweet.
That's awesome. So basically, did you always want to come back with kind of with Sonoran Chorus? Did you always want to make that a thing again, or was that kind of just you left it up to chance?
I don't know. I mean, that's hard. I don't want to say I didn't,
Well, okay,
and I didn't. But
right,
I mean, it was kind of chance, just because, April when we ended it, it was very much like, okay, we'll see what happens, and I would like to do something in another vein. I bought a bass amp and then I broke it immediately.
How?
You
break a bass amp?
I bought a cab without a crossover, so I was trying to build a crossover for it, and then I overloaded the head and blew a fuse, and then I put a new fuse in, and then it now just blows fuses.
Got it.
Without a cab plugged into it.
Got it.
So I don't really know what that is.
I don't either. I've never had that. I'm when it comes to gear, I aspire to know a lot, but I know very little. Like, especially as a bassist, it's so easy to not know anything, which is the problem with me. Like, I got my tone after a year. Got my tone exactly how I want it. Like, it's like a band will be like, hey, we're just gonna leave our gear up on stage so you guys can use it too, and I'm like, no. That sounds really tempting because I don't want to carry my shit, but I finally figured it out, and goddamn it, I'm gonna use it. You know what I mean? But aside from getting my tone right where it needs to be, I don't know anything. I don't have crazy pedals or anything. You built pedals, right?
No.
You did? I thought I saw something online where you built a pedal. You were working on a pedal or something like that. Am I totally crazy? Never mind.
I mean, I've worked on some PCBs and stuff that look like pedals on the inside. I don't know.
Got it.
But no, I go into those situations a little arrogant because I'm like, oh, it's kind of what I do at work, and then I've broken 2 guitar amps now, or a bass amp and a guitar amp. So I'm gonna probably take those to hunt. But so I don't know. It's just hard, just because Sonoran Chorus is a blast. It's a lot of fun. So that's that's one vein that I exist in. And it'd be nice to try some other things. For sure.
Totally. Is that something that you think about? Do you have a bunch of music written that's not right for Sonoran Chorus that you'd like to just put out online somewhere?
Not as much, because I'll just lose those songs. Anything I wrote this summer is just gone.
Oh man. The Lost Summer Bummer tapes. I want to hear those.
It's kind of like, oh, that's a fun jam. That'd be a cool thing to turn into a song. And then, that was Monday, and now it's Tuesday, and I'm playing something else.
I have so much stuff like that on my phone. Where
I do too.
I don't think my memory's that bad, but I think it's about average. But I'll listen. Alicia's shaking her head. But I'll go through my phone, or worse than my phone. I have a portable audio recorder with an SD card in it.
Yeah, that guy right there.
Yeah. The H4. I've had that thing since 2013, and it's still, or 2011. 2011. I had it since 2011. It still works.
There might be stuff we recorded on there.
Yeah, there might have been. I might have used it back then. So, I'll have stuff on there where it's okay, A, I don't remember ever writing anything like this ever, and B, I have no idea how to play this.
Oh yeah,
like I've had to like sit down. I'll be like at home bored, and I'll like find something on my phone or on the audio record. Now it's like spend an afternoon like, okay, how did I do that? Like, what is this? Like, what the hell? It's the worst thing ever. I hate it.
Yeah. So I had a lot of stuff like that where it's just like, so I don't know. I mean, I've got ideas that I want to be in a different, another band or a different band, but it's just I don't know. Sonoran Chorus is a blast. I don't know if I'd call it art kind of thing. I want to be something like, oh yes, we put this together for you, and it's beautiful, and we look grumpy while we do it, and like,
oh my god, fuck, I Single Mother. Okay, so one of my favorite punk bands is a band called Single Mothers, and they have a song where it says the lyric is come watch my band look bored. I swear to God we mean it. And I think about that all the time when I see like bands who are like not nearly punching their weight, who think that they're like the biggest thing in the world, and they just like they want to look bummed out all the time or despondent, and they're looking away. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, no one cares. Like,
yeah, I've tried it, but I'm always like, oh, what am I doing? So I don't know. I mean, and I don't mean to say it like that because it's definitely a look, and it's that's part of the whole.
I'm just messing around.
Oh yeah. No, I have the same thoughts about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's definitely, I don't know.
That's all, well, yeah, dude.
An act, I guess. I don't mean to say it like that, but I just feel too excited sometimes.
No, I understand. You don't gotta apologize. You're like always apologizing for yourself. It's cool. Everything's wrong.
Have I been apologizing the whole time?
Yeah, a little bit.
Shit.
No, you're totally fine. It's just like you'll say it, I have an opinion that's super valid, and then you're like, but I don't mean like, I don't want to It's just like, I get you, man. It's cool. Everything's cool. I'll fucking edit all that out.
Yeah, I'm trying to make this a podcast for you.
No,
we
you're
haven't
good.
talked in so long.
I know. It's
when I listened
it's so crazy.
I listened to the Celebration Guns one today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Did you like it?
Yeah, everyone was so comfortable, and there's big conversation.
That was that was one of those episodes where it's like, oh yeah. I want you to come on the show. Listen to this episode, and it's like that episode is like the one where it's like,
I was scrolling through. I was like, and I saw Oliver Lemke's name and some other people's names, but I was like, Celebration Guns. I'll listen to that one.
Yeah, Oliver was cool. Oliver was an interesting podcast, but the really great thing about Oliver was how many people I met through him. Like, I accidentally got so many connections out of that one little podcast that I did, because I met Gil Rodriguez from Ghost in the Willow and Combat Medic, and I met Celebration Guns and all these people through him. And he's such a cool guy, really sweet and kind of laid back and very hello, I'm Oliver. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and I haven't even met him. I mean, we played with Soft Deadlines once, I think.
I heard they're wild on stage. I've never seen them.
It was that was so long ago. Was it like Casa, except the sidebar?
Yeah, we played there.
Yeah.
The teeny tiny little stage that's super high off the ground. Yeah, dude, we played Casa. God, that place was really cool. I actually had a really good time at that place.
I felt like I was just murdering the bartender with my amp.
Oh, really?
It was pointed right at him, and I was like...
We got lucky. I think we played on a weekend, and
oh shit!
So it was just just constantly drunk people coming in and out, and
cool.
That was that. We got lucky. Well, the Apaches were putting together their album release show that night, and they were gracious enough to have us on. So I go way back with those guys. I love them to death. So yeah, they're just so that was super fun. Casa was cool, and then. Within the same 2 weeks, I played Casa, and then we played Endgame, that barcade.
Oh yeah.
But they closed. Both of those bars closed down right within the same few weeks of each other. It just seemed like
Casa's still open.
Oh wait, it is.
Oh yeah.
Is it?
I guess they've got crazy? Casa Sunba, which is where we would have played it. I don't know if they turned that into something else or.
I thought for some reason I thought Casa was gone, but I guess I'm just crazy. Maybe
but now
not.
there's Shady Park, and Shady Park.
Okay,
is funky.
Is it? What's the deal? I got offered to play Shady Park in July, and I was like, no. I want to play outside.
Fuck that. No, they've got
what?
It's not a park.
It's not a park? What is it?
Oh no, it's outside.
It's outside.
Yeah,
it's outside.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a bar.
No, it's
outside.
They've
got a front side. They've got their pizza kitchen and their bar inside. I have actually never been inside.
I've never been there. I've just seen outside.
They have a back part. And they do I don't know, $3 drafts on Friday nights or something like that, which is pretty killer.
Yeah.
And they have a really nice sound system, and they just have a good draw of just people coming through. But it's just it's part of Mill Ave.
Yeah, it's part of Mill Ave. And in Arizona, like if you're gonna ask me to play a show outside in Arizona, it's gotta be like it can't be in July. I'm sorry, like I love you, I love the scene and everything, but like, geez, that's rough. Like especially like I think we got that too when we were closer to starting out, so we would have been the opener, so we would have been playing at like 6:30. Yeah, like no way, not happening.
Even playing at Trunk Space in the summer is hard,
dude. Yeah, have you ever played Spinelli's?
Yeah,
we've played Spinelli's in like July ones, and they always keep their doors open. Mm-hmm. So that was rough. Like Spinelli's, I love their pizza, but I only go there in the winter because they always leave their doors open, and it's like I can't handle that.
Yeah, I played there in like in September, and I was like, wow, what's going on?
That place is, I like that place a lot. But it was one of those things where I loved the restaurant, and then I played there, and we had an awful show. It just went terrible. We decided to never, ever play restaurants ever again. We got to a point where everyone kept telling us to turn down. And it's like, okay, then don't invite a live rock band. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, there's dynamic and all that. But, like... If you don't like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna book a band, you can't just expect them to all be like kind of like quiet, easy music to listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know. We definitely don't play stuff like that anymore.
Especially like,
not as what?
Like no, like it's not against them. I love Spinelli's, and I think they're great. But like same thing with that pho place, the Pho Cow.
Yeah.
Every single time I've played there, we got so much shit from the sound guy. The sound guy is constantly, or like someone comes out like, I can't hear the phones. Like, make it an acoustic act. Like,
yeah. It's like that's the kind of place where it's like, hey, this is a place where we should be playing covers or acoustic guitars. Like, we definitely. Not in an arrogant sense, but just for the sake of the person booking, when someone's like, "Hey, do you want to play here?" and I'm like, "I don't think you want us to play."
Yeah,
here.
I know.
You don't know that yet, but
but I don't know, man. Like it's whatever. I love playing shows, and I'll play. I want to play as much as possible. I want to hear what's your
pretty far away.
Yeah, hear your opinion on this. Is like, how do you feel about like we've gotten to the point now where it's smarter to play less shows and get more of a draw, and I hate that. I hate it. I just want to play.
That's where you start a second band.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think you're totally right.
It totally is because it just hurts. It can, play a Trunk Space show, then play a Tough show, then play like a Yucca show. There's not going to be anyone at the Yucca show. Like,
totally.
Not at all. So just the people there, right? And that just makes sense.
It totally makes sense. I just hate that. Like once we started to get to that point where it's like, all right, well, we're gonna have to start spacing them apart because now we're at a point where people actually want to come to see us, and it's not just about us. It's about like respecting the listeners, you know what I mean? Like your followers. Like you want to respect them by not constantly stretching them thin with all of these shows. Like you want to space it out, and it makes sense. And it's just like, but I just want to play all the time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna start something. I've been considering it lately. I've been considering starting a second thing with somebody, with some cool people. We'll see if that goes well. That's why I just want to play. I'm gonna play lead guitar though. I'm changing. Man,
I've never heard that.
I'm changing it up.
Cool.
I love bass, but like I play guitar constantly, and I'm always playing guitar. And it's one of those things where I just wanted to. Okay, so I'm just gonna fucking spill the beans right now. If anybody is interested. Colton from Second Go. Do you know those guys? Them. Okay, so they're great. Like I've had them on the show before. They're all wonderful. But he's starting a side project, which is very kind of it's a little bit more emo, but it's still very poppy and catchy and fun. Like Second Go is a pop punk band, which is not my scene. But his side project is much more kind of something that I'm interested in. I really really dig it. So yeah, man, it'd be fun. Like get together. Like I love this guy. It'd be fun to play some songs. But like I want to change it up. Like I told him, I was like, "Hey man, I'd love to jam with you sometime." And he's like, "Well, I already kind of have a bassist in mind. Like if you want to play guitar, I'd be totally down." And I'm like,
"You don't even know."
Yeah, I was like, "Dude, I would love to play guitar. That'd be awesome. Hell yeah, I want to like expand." And then Alicia actually reminded me of this. We're driving one day, and she's like, "Wait, you know right that like Colton is writing the songs. He's going to be playing rhythm guitar, so you're going to be playing leads." And I was like, "Oh, that's going to be awesome." Because like that sounds like a challenge. Like I want that. Like because like I love Phantom Party and I love being in the band, but at the same time like it'd be really fun to like stretch my legs doing something else and like just like climbing up that mountain again. You know
yeah, I mean I knew you as drums and bass.
Yeah, exactly.
So man, what was the first band? What was the first band you played drums in like Ohio?
Cure for the Cynic.
Yeah, man, I remember you showed me that song. I was like, holy fuck, he's insane. He's recorded a song before. That's crazy.
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is that there was a drum machine.
I know. I remember you telling me that. I remember. And I was like, whatever. I mean, if you can play this, then.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. Like, it was
man.
I don't even know what genre. People always ask me what genre is that, and I always tell them whatever As I Lay Dying was.
That was hardcore.
Yeah, I guess whatever that genre was.
I mean, it was like emo hardcore.
Yeah.
Because like hardcore now is totally actually different. Hardcore.
Yeah, I know.
that was like,
yeah.
Like, that kick drum is perfect. What's going on there?
Every single hit is the perfect volume. Yeah, I have those somewhere on my computer. I have those old files.
On YouTube.
I want to find. Yeah, they're on YouTube too. I want to find your old. I want the old stuff that you used to write. Is that anywhere?
Well, you have to steal some kid's iPod that I was friends with in high school. Probably. I mean, a few of my friends, because I definitely had a friend who was like, "Hey, I heard your singles," and I was like, "Not singles, but like demos." Jesus. And I was like,
Your
"It's fucking stupid. They're not even finished." And I was like, "What? How'd you hear those?" She's like, "Oh, I was listening to so-and-so's iPod, and I just saw your name on there. I was like, God damn it! Like, I need to find everybody and be like, hey, I've come to crush your iPod. I see it's an iPod Classic, so it's worth a lot, but I'm gonna crush it anyways."
Are iPod Classics worth a lot of money?
If they work, they're like, it's not that they're worth a lot; it's that they're still worth $200 to $300.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, I have mine. I still have mine. I have like one of the 160 gig ones, and it's still like, dude, those things will run forever. Mm-hmm. Like they'll just until the end of their cockroaches. Like
they're
awesome. At the end of the world, they're still gonna be rolling around.
And those hard drives cost nothing. So if it goes bad, it's just like buy one from China on eBay, drop it in, and
that's awesome.
You're back.
I think it's crazy. Like but that thought would never occur to me. But I'm not. You've always been very technically gifted when it comes to like mechanics of stuff. Is that something you've always been really interested in? Because I know when we were hanging out, you were always more technical than me. But I was just kind of an idiot. But like,
hey, if you can tell me not to apologize, I can tell you not to call you.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
No, I was just keeping the shit that I had working. A lot of the, I guess, stuff that I had, I was given. So like, the BMX bike I had, my uncle gave me. Right, so I had to like fix that because it was from the 90s. That. Yeah, the blue one.
Yeah,
with the crushed bar from him smashing his crotch
on
it.
Yeah, you used to always fix that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
So I had that. The first road bike I had was from my grandma. I fixed that because it was also 40 years old.
Yeah. That's so cool. What's up with you and bikes? Were you always interested in that stuff? Like, were you always just like in love with bikes, or was that just like?
Yeah, I used to ride BMX, but like BMX was a bunch of like Chandler kids.
Yeah.
And Chandler and BMX very broy,
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
I didn't do well with those guys. It was fun, but then I switched to mountain biking because all my Mormon friends did that, and so I was mountain biking for a while, and then I started playing music.
Gotcha.
And then in school, it was like, oh, I have to commute. I may as well make this look cool and feel good.
Yeah. Well, I remember you posting a lot about like the vintage bikes for a little while.
Yeah, well, when I was a freshman, I was riding 14 miles round trip to get to work, right, from on a road bike that I inherited, and it was falling apart, and it was French, and so it was unique, which just means it was a pain in the ass to work on French parts. It was before there were standards for all these bikes and stuff. So I found I found a company called Velo Orange, and they do a lot of repros, and so I restored the whole bike and I made it look really beautiful, and then it had bags on it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that online.
Yeah, so I do like donut runs and stuff, and it was just fun. It's just it's a lump of steel and it still works. So I would hate to buy a new one when that bike I got for free, and then I broke it, and then so I found a replacement frame for like $60, and I rebuilt it. But
got it.
But I had the fixie that I rode to campus for a long time. I got for $10. It was leaning on a tree. I drove out to like Levine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my friend found this Craigslist ad that was like bikes, Levine. Pick
bikes.
And
That's
it was
hilarious.
like the guy had like 8 bikes leaning on a tree that were they are all shit. And so I got that and I fixed it and I rode that to and from school for a long time. So I don't know. It's That's just awesome. Really just fixing what we have. That's why I have that old car.
Yeah, I was about to say, I can't believe you still have that car. Yeah. Like, no one has the cars that they, like, started. Okay, hold on. First of all, I'm, like, pretty much out of, like, questions that I wanted to ask. So this is the part of the podcast where, like, unless you want to hear Alex and I just kind of ramble about shit, then, like, this is probably your moment to turn off. But, what?
Have you ever listened to Roderick on the Line?
No.
That's what they do.
It's
like two good friends. One of them asks good questions, and the other one knows how to tell stories.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, well, I mean, my big guy is Rogan. Like, he's like the dude that I love the most, and he does that kind of stuff too. But all of his friends are famous, so everyone wants to listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so I think it's crazy that you still have that car, and more so than that, like, okay, for instance, Allison Tussing does not have that car that she used to have, nor does like any of the friends.
What did Allison have?
She had one of those. It was like a Nissan from like the '80s, and it was like kind of sporty, and the dash, the
dude, she had the gray 300Z, and it like almost caught on fire. Yeah, right. Yeah. You were riding with her, I think, when that happened.
I was with her when her brakes stopped working.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, and the dashboard was all digital.
Yeah, some techno
weird.
car.
Yeah.
When I was friends with Tanner Sundstrom, and he had 2 of those. And he curbed one of them and broke both the axles, and the other one he like tried to move everything over to, but it had
That's crazy. Yeah, it's just I think it's so weird that you hung on to that car. That's awesome. But I mean, I guess that makes sense.
It was super sentimental.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I'd already put so much into it that it's never made sense to get rid of it. I mean, I'm lucky the way it is. I got it. We dumped $1,000 into it. It worked.
That's not
and then
much,
someone rear-ended me. And insurance was like, your car's totaled. Here's $3,000 cash. And I was like, you guys are fucking idiots. I went to the body shop that like my dad had his car done at. So we're friends with them. And they were like, yeah, we'll pull your frame for like $1,000. So my car was fixed for $1,000. So I was like, well, I still have $2,000 left. So that's how I painted it and stuff. And
that's awesome.
And then I drove it out of need for like, through my freshman year. I was driving it to and from Flying Blanket, and I was driving it to Lowe's in Scottsdale and stuff. And that was my second semester that I put back on campus because I got that internship. And then I broke, one rainy night at midnight in March, the night before spring break.
That's like the opening of a noir movie, like one rainy night.
I turned it over, and I heard like the classic movie, like, and I was like, oh shit, and I broke the engine. So then that's how I got my first credit card, maxed it out the day I got it because I paid for the engine. Or at least I paid for the boring and the block and stuff. So we got that in there. And so now it's at the point where it's like it's worth X amount, and I've put, X minus 1 into it in money. So it's like, and it's not, but I wouldn't be able to sell it for like what it's would be worth if it was totally working, because it's not totally working. So it's just this constant like chase of the elusive, like, and I'm not trying to make it like really fast or like really smooth. I'm just like, I just want it to like fucking work and have AC.
Totally.
So now it fucking works, right? But I have to like change the fans on it.
No, yeah, so the thing, I don't know anything about cars. Like I'm
I'm getting too detailed.
My father's biggest disappointment because like I love my dad and my dad loves me, but like he really just wanted like a kid who was gonna love cars and sports. You know what I mean? And neither of those things really worked for me. But I know enough about cars to like diagnose a problem that's really, really pedestrian. Or like I got stranded in California and I was able to pull out the alternator, put a new alternator. I can do like
that's fucking awesome.
Little things.
That's
like,
important.
Exactly. I can do this shit. I know how to do the stuff that like is basic pretty much. A lot of people have to go through it. Like because my first car was a beater. My dad forced me to buy a piece of shit car for my first car. I saved up money working at Walmart and I bought my own car. It was a 1990 Geo Prism, and my dad was like, you need to buy a beater. I'm not going to help you out buying a car because you need to know how to fix it when it breaks.
Yeah.
And it totally works. That's why, like, when I get stranded, it's like, okay, I don't know a whole lot about cars, but I can tell that this is what's wrong and I can pull this out.
I mean, it's just like having the confidence to even try. I mean, just because, like, I did a simple job on Monday, and before you knew it, it was Tuesday, and my car was not put back together. I had to get a ride to and from work. But, I mean, that's Yeah, my dad helped me do the Camaro. That's why it's so nice. But I got this truck for my grandpa, and like a brake cylinder went out, so I had to change that. And to say the least, there was fluid everywhere, and my brake system was full of bubbles because I took so long. So,
dude, I've done some of the dumbest things when it comes to cars ever. Like, I delivered pizzas for a while when I was like 18, and I always had to put oil in my Geo because it was just it was older than me. Like, you know what I mean? So like it was
what?
Like
You were born in 93. You said 99 Geo, man.
No, 1990 Geo.
Oh, 1990.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck am I missing?
Sorry. 1990 Geo.
You just get younger on these podcasts.
Yeah, don't tell me how old I am. Anyway, this old car always leaking. So one time I was driving and I always had like oil in my trunk and I put some oil in it, but I forgot to put the cap back on. So I just drove away and all of a sudden there's just like oil just shooting all over my windshield. And I opened up the hood and it's just like a horror movie, just like red everywhere. Like I can see it shooting out of the. I was like, oh god,
the cam is hitting it, it's flinging it. Yeah,
I was cleaning that for a month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't imagine trying to wipe that off your windshield just to get home.
Oh my god! And then my dad was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me!" Like it was the worst.
Oh shit!
And like I went to a car wash, like one of the ones where you just like hose it down yourself, and I spent like an hour there just trying to do everything that I could with it, and that was my dad. My dad was like, "I cannot believe you did that. Like that's so ridiculous." But I don't know, man. I'm kind of ditzy when it comes to shit like that. Like it happens.
Oh, I got my ex and I stranded at a wind cave over by Usury.
Oh, okay.
Because like I was really nervous about like I had a leaky water pump, and so I was driving around with a gallon of water, and I didn't put the cap back on all the way, and so it didn't allow the system to pressurize. And then we drove out to Usury, and my car overheated, and it fucking vaporized all of the coolant because the coolant was totally water because it had leaked out all the original antifreeze.
Oh.
And then she got a cholla in her ankle at sundown.
Wait, what?
A
what?
cholla
What's that?
cactus.
Oh,
you know the really fuzzy cactus,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, okay.
And so we were trying to get home, and there's no coolant in my car, so I had to like fill 4 gallons with like a like state park water fountain, which is just like, you know, just like the smallest trickle of water. Oh, it was fucking awful. And my dad was like, he's like, "You didn't pressurize your system, did you?" And I was like,
"Oh man,
no."
Dude, that's rough. My thing was always pushing the limit to see how far I could go with no gas, because I never had money.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like
that. It was a game. It was a game. Like especially when I was delivering pizzas. It was like, okay, I can guarantee you I can get to my next 2 deliveries without getting any gas. And you learn a couple things. A, every car has a secret gas tank, and you can get away with way more than you think you can. And B, like, God, there's been so many times where, like, I pull into the gas station and it stops. Like, right there.
Yeah.
Or, like just shy of the gas station.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, the Camaro tank isn't baffled, so if you would take a left or a right on a low tank, the car would be like...
Yep. Same. Exactly mine too.
So, like, there was straight up a point where I sold, like, my Oxy to, like, and Jeremy, and I was like, sweet, $20, that's like half a tank.
I love that. I follow that kid. I just followed him on Snapchat. He looks exactly the same.
I know. Is he working at his mom's flower shop?
I don't know, but probably. Like I knew his sister actually really well. Like
yeah, but she did a lot of drugs.
Yeah, she did a lot.
Is she okay?
Yeah, yeah. She's. I think she like got it together. I don't want to air out any place dirty laundry from high school, but she fucking got it together. Doesn't matter. She doesn't even know I exist. I'm gonna say this anyway. She came to school one day, tripping off of like 7 Tylenol PMs.
Fucking lame. That's awful. That sucks.
Like,
Jeez.
but, I mean, like, but like when you're in like 9th grade, like what else do you do?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I had friends just like inhaling nutmeg, dude. Do you remember that?
Yeah, totally. That was the people used to always tell you, "Oh, dude, you took it so high up nutmeg."
Yeah, my friend's like, "Dude, I just threw 2 tablespoons of nutmeg into my yogurt," and I was like, "That sounds fucking awful." Like, I'm gonna get so high. I was like, I don't know if.
I tried that. I saw that in a movie. I saw that in Idle Hands, that like crappy horror movie that they say that if you mix nutmeg with something else, you can get really high. And I remember trying to do that once, and I just coughed for an hour, and I couldn't breathe all night long. And it was like such a dumb. And then, oh god! But for some reason, it didn't occur to me that like this crappy like comedy horror movie with Seth Green in it was gonna like, oh dude, that's totally gonna work. Whatever.
And people do it. I mean, I haven't done nutmeg.
I haven't nutmegged either.
But when I realized what I sold those oxys for, I was like, fuck, like he had me selling them so cheap.
That's so funny. Do you still hang out with anybody from Williamsfield at all?
I am still. I mean, like it's the kind of like a good old friend kind of phone call thing, like every now and then. But like I still talk to Andrew Barber.
Oh, me too.
You talk to Andrew?
Andrew Barber aged so gracefully.
Like, yeah, seriously, he just wised up. Like I mean, and he was always wise. It's not like he wised up, but like yeah, he just I just keep an eye. I'm like, what's Andrew doing? Okay, all right, so maybe I should. Dude, doing that too.
I love Andrew. Like the crazy thing about him is like he was very conservative in high school. Like
I don't like thinking about that.
Yeah, so,
that's some weird shit.
No, he and I would always debate on politics because he was super conservative, which is understandable. Like he grew up in a conservative household, like most of the people I was hanging out with in Gilbert, Arizona. Like it's super common. I was used to it, but he was super smart. And, like, not to say that conservative people are dumb, but he seemed too one. You know what I mean? Like, sorry.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah, and like, it was always weird to me. So he and I would always argue about stuff like that. And then college happened, and at least that's what it looked like to me. Is that college happened?
It was the typical like white guy thing where like Andrew and we both were like, yeah, we're libertarian.
Yeah,
and then like after a year, we're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, I remember talking to him. I still like I talked to him every once. I haven't talked. Actually, I haven't talked to him in a while. We like it's one of those like things where we're both on social media and we'll both like each other's stuff and like we're still like kind of in contact. I talked to him not too long ago, but I remember like last time I talked to him being so far the other way from where he was originally. It was so just like, dude, I'm so happy.
Oh yeah, he's like the ultimate leftist now.
Yeah, I mean, and he like runs a radio show right now. He does like
I don't know if he's
still
doing that because he's out of Virginia Tech now.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, he like him and his partner were like, I mean, they ran that thing, and he had the metal hour. And like it was he had some awful hours for a long time, and then he got like a good spot, and like I listened to it a few times, and it was a blast. And it was crazy to listen to him on the air because he's just like, all right, so we've got so-and-so from Blacksburg. Should be a good one. And then some shit I've never heard of. We'll see how that goes. And then, like, I would listen to it. I'd be, like, doing homework. And then I'd just cut off. He'd be like, yeah, that sucked, so we're moving on. And I was just like, damn, he's a fucking pro.
That's so fucking Andrew. That's so Andrew. Like, so, like, nonplussed and very much like, oh, yeah, that sucked. Yeah. Like, all of our school projects that we did are still online. Like, our whole group of people, him and Dominique and Courtney
those
Smith.
whack-ass videos that were all inspired by Trevor and Ty.
Oh, no, they were not fucking inspired by Trevor and Ty.
Yeah, they were.
No,
because they were the first ones doing those absurd...
Yeah, but I didn't know. I was the fucking mastermind behind our wackadoo videos, and I wasn't friends with those guys.
Oh, okay, and you weren't friends with them.
Yeah.
It's not that you didn't know them.
Well, okay. I have no idea where either of those guys are now. Ty was always ridiculously amazing and nice, and I had no reason to not be friends with him. I just, for some reason, I don't remember there being a reason other than I think the only reason he and I never hung out was because he hung out with Trevor, and Trevor was always a dick to me. So
yeah,
but I was a dick to him too. Yeah, see, Ty was always super
Ty's
cool.
Awesome.
The only reason I was not friends with him was because he was friends with Trevor, and like. I'm not saying that I was a fucking like victim to him being mean to me. I was definitely a douchebag, but like at the same time, like I don't know. It happens. It's what happens in high school, you know. But that's the thing. High school like is crazy because there's people who I knew in high school who I hated, who now I'm like super chill with. Like, oh yeah,
like who?
I don't. You can't.
You can't.
I don't know. But like, I think I hope that's how people are with me because I know that I was like a total abominable human being when I was in high school, and I kind of grew out of it a little bit, became a little bit more relaxed, a little not so like psychotically like My job in high school was to offend as many people as humanly possible.
Yeah, that's why I got you kicked out of the AP class. I'll never forget that shit.
Yeah, it was.
That was insane. I was like, "What'd you write?" And you told me. I was like, "Matt, what the fuck?" Like, oh, I just thought it was funny. And then the cops were in the office. Ms. White did not like that shit, man. Oh, that was awesome. That was so fucking awesome.
God, yeah, I know. I just wanted to like. I was just like, I was in that period in my life where I was so angsty, and I just wanted to express it in the most like viciously offensive way as humanly possible, and it did me no favors at all. It granted me a lot of funny stories, but in the long run, like did nothing. But yeah, got me kicked out of that class. Miss White was super cool, and you know what though? After that, I'm not going to talk about what I wrote about, but after that,
yeah.
After that happened, so I went from her class to Ms. Mollenkoff's class, who was amazing. I loved her to death.
Cool.
But every single day in that hallway, Miss White and I would lock eyes, and she would laugh. Like I would walk away, she'd look at me, and she'd go, like put her head down, like you fucking idiot.
She was one of my favorite teachers.
Yeah, she taught me about fracking. She had a whole like.
Oh my god, that shit pissed her off so much, dude. Oh, Ms. White was awesome. Oh man, I should like. No, I should not try to find her on Facebook and be like, "What's up?"
I want to do that. Okay, do you remember Mr. Poirier?
No,
the history teacher.
I remember that name. So there was like you were with Posado or Poirier.
Exactly.
And I was with Posado.
I got it.
And,
yeah. So
she is whack.
Yeah. So wait, did I have Miss Posado too? I thought I had Miss Posado in AP, maybe.
Yeah, AP World History.
Yeah, AP. Yeah. But I had Poirier before I was in AP. Yeah. Okay. So. We just need to get you a mic because I know Alicia wants. Now that we're talking about Williamsfield, she wants to talk. But like,
right here.
Yeah. So I eventually got into AP, but before I was in AP, I was in Mr. Poirier's class, and he was amazing. He was awesome. But like, I want to find him on Facebook to apologize because he was legitimately one of the coolest teachers I've ever had. He was like, instead of like us reading just textbook nonsense, like he was teaching us from Howard Zinn. Like we were legitimately reading people's history of the United States as opposed to like the standardized McGraw-Hill like books. You know what I'm talking about?
God.
But I just blew it off. Completely blew it off. Like, you know how I was in high school. I just like, no, I'm just going to read my book and all you guys can just fuck off because this is what I'm interested in.
Well, I mean, dude, yeah, when you dropped out, we were like, man, what? No, you're like us. We are all smart. And you're just like, fuck this. And you were already gone.
Yeah.
And we're just like, man.
I know. It was,
but I mean, it was so pure because you like wrote that paper and then.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I know. It was, I don't know. I don't know if I regret dropping out or not because it was because I got my GED. Okay. So the reason I don't regret dropping out was because I got a GED and I got fucking flying colors on the GED, and the GED looks way better than my transcripts did.
Yeah.
So it works out in the long run because it was better than my transcripts.
It's some wild bullshit. How
yeah.
Oh my god, I should have been way more of a dick in high school.
I feel the same way, even though I knew I was. There's certain times where I'm like, dude, I should have engaged in more pranks. I should have done more wacky stuff. I should have like rebelled more. Because here's the thing: the only rebellion that I ever really had was like work refusal, that one crazy paper, and dropping out. Like, I never skipped classes. I never really like played hooky a whole lot. Like, I was a pretty like good student aside from not really doing my work. I didn't get in fights. I didn't argue with the students. I wasn't like that. I was just kind of like lame. But like, part of me is just like, I wish I would have done more because I left anyway.
Yeah, because there's a whole like, I don't know. I remember being like permanent record. It's no such thing.
Yeah,
it's like
it's just something you hear in like 80s high school movies. This is going on your permanent record.
Yeah, some Ferris Bueller shit.
Yeah,
so it's just like,
I don't know, but at the same time, long ago. I'm glad that I left at the same time because I immediately jumped into the working force and just immediately got my work ethic to this day. Like one of the things I'm very proud of is my work ethic, and I think I got that because I was like 17 working jobs, figuring it out. Like
I'm not doing this. So.
Yeah, exactly. I knew, and I'm too like. I'm too amped to ever sit around. I could never sit around. Even if I like had a bunch of money, I would still constantly have to be busy with something. That's why like I immediately got a job because like it was like fun jobs like Spirit Halloween and like Allen's Music Center and stuff. But I leaned into something.
Dude, Allen's.
Yeah, right?
Oh, that place was awesome.
Yeah. It was when I worked there.
Well, when Allen was one of the techs, right?
Well, no, Allen was a family name that no one there was named Allen. There was the Raina who was the female. There was a husband and wife. Husband and wife owned it, and then there was an older guy who was like their dad, and like the guitar tech. There was a couple guitar teachers too, and they were all super cool. But yeah,
I was like a Bob Ross looking guy.
Yeah. He
was awesome.
Yeah, that place was awesome. That place was the best.
He's like, yeah, I'll sell your guitar for $40. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, dude, their setups were great. I think I would get setups done for $25.
Yeah, maybe it was in that, and I would go there, drop off something, and I'd go to your house.
Yeah, yeah. It's so crazy. Like, I forgot how much time we spent together.
It's because it was so condensed.
Yeah, you're right.
We hung out so much the first semester of junior year.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't sophomore year. I think we knew each other sophomore year, but it was junior year.
Yeah, we hung out sophomore year, and then like we just started hanging out, and and we were jamming, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then like, fucking. I feel like a dick, especially after being like, yeah, we just dropped Troy. I mean, that is like such a different issue though.
Yeah.
But well, like Tanner was like, we jammed with Tanner.
See, I barely remember
Tanner Siegfurt. We went to that fancy ass rehearsal basement that he had. Remember, he had a kit that was like completely surrounding him. It was yellow.
What? No, I don't remember this.
Well, good, because basically what happened, he was like, yeah.
What? How the fuck do I not remember this? I'm like getting like nervous now. What do you mean? Wait, hold on.
Well, so we jammed with Tanner Siegfurt.
See, that sounds familiar.
He's the drummer from Buskin' Cuffs, which is that band whose dick I just sucked so hard.
Yes. Buskin' Cuffs. That was the other
band ever. I saw that band and I quit the band I was in, whose name I'm not gonna say.
Yeah.
I quit that band after I saw Buskin' Cuffs. I was like, holy shit.
Buskin' Cuffs was the other band you were super into. I remember that.
But
we only jammed with him once, right?
I think we jammed twice.
Okay.
We jammed enough. It was
where was
so
it? Where
fucking
was his house?
lame. It was like Alta Mesa, like Brown and like Power.
Jesus Christ.
We probably rode together.
I was gonna say we had to have driven together. There's no way.
Oh man, if you don't remember this, then I shouldn't reiterate it. But
no, please do.
I hit up Tanner on MySpace. And I was like, hey, dude, I saw you drumming for Buskin' Cuffs one time. I was curious if you had some time to jam and, like, try something else. He's like, I'm not in that band anymore. And I talked to Stetson, the guitarist from that band.
That name sounds familiar. I remember you always talking about that, yeah.
And he was like, Tanner's a dick. And I was like, well, he's not in your band, so...
So this is starting to come back together. You telling me that you were nervous because he said he was a dick.
Yeah.
That is coming. But that, how do I remember that? But I don't remember like the actual.
You'll remember all this probably as we hung out twice, I think, and Tanner was like, "I want to work with you, but I don't want to work with Matt."
What?
Yeah.
Why? Because I was just too.
I don't know.
Too much. Was he like Mormon or something?
I think it was the whole like Tanner knew fucking everything about music theory and played the drums.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And I was like, okay. And so we stopped playing. And then I think, did you drop out that semester?
I dropped out. I know. I dropped out the last day of school.
Yeah. We weren't in classes together anymore, basically.
No.
So we're still hanging out at lunch.
Yeah.
God, Tanner was such a fucking asshole.
Oh my fucking god.
Because like we never had issues. Like
it was
just like. It was like you, me, and Andrew be like, yeah, no. And then like someone else would join. Danny was sometimes with us, maybe.
Danny was sometimes with us, yeah. Danny.
I think Danny was with Ty most of the time, though. Like Danny would ditch if he was with us.
Danny was just ditched life all the time.
Yeah. And then like, I just remember it was like,
she was. I remember her house. Do you remember her house? Yeah.
I never went there.
She had a giant Aubrey Hepburn posters, and it was like a huge, like rich, like really, really, really nice house.
Well, dude, I don't know. So, do you remember
the Oaks? Was it in the Oaks? Is that where it was? It was something like the Power Ranch.
My mom was a personal trainer.
Okay.
And so,
wait, hold on. Sorry, real quick. Do you remember watching Count of Monte Cristo with your mom at your house?
Yeah, dude we probably made
best.
mac and cheese that
yes,
night.
We did.
Yeah, we walked to Fry's.
Yeah.
You had some smokes.
Uh-huh.
And then we
I
walked
was still
back.
smoking back. I smoked for a long time. Shit, I don't smoke anymore.
Cool.
Yeah.
So then, we watched Count of Monte Cristo, which is like a 3-hour fucking movie.
We watched all of it. I was like, this is the greatest movie ever. I'd never seen it. And you were like, how have you never seen this movie before?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, dude, it's just like Shawshank Redemption, except older looking.
That's what you told me. It was Shawshank Redemption. Oh my god, it was the best revenge movie ever, dude.
Yeah.
Like no one, there's like you and like 5 other people in the world like, dude, Count of Monte Cristo is the best movie ever. Like no one talks about that.
I don't know if I'd say it's the best movie ever anymore, but it's still in my top 10 just because, like, dude, a good revenge story with that old Dumbledore guy, whoever played the original Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's so good.
Anyway, yeah. I remember we'd be at lunch and it would always just like immediately become like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought there was a dog chewing on this, but it's actually just tied to something I'm pulling on.
You're good. Yeah, you're good. Your room was so delightfully minimalistic.
It was stupid. Because my mom had no money.
Oh. I thought you were just being artistic.
No, my mom bought me a bed and some cans of paint.
Yeah? Yeah, because you had the huge...
I had the fucking Blink face.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You had a giant Blink-182 face, like really well painted on your wall.
Well, so ever since, like, I never learned how to actually draw, because in, like, 6th grade, I was like, dude, I'm going to learn how to draw, and I'm going to design cars, you know, as if I can just draw cars and be like, here, make it. And so I started tracing, right? And then I just became, like, pro at, like, tracing, which is, like, 5 minutes of Sharpie, so you can trace it easier kind of thing. Yeah. And I put that on a projector and I traced it onto the wall and then I painted it. And it was like, the only reason it was perfect is because everything's a blur, right? The face is like,
yeah.
But the text was like that typewriter and the paint and like, it was like 3 fonts on one thing.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like a collage thing.
Yeah. So
I remember that.
We made that, yeah. And then I had the slaughterhouse fucking lights in there. I had that like blue light.
Yeah, I remember the lighting being. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's so crazy. I still can't believe I don't remember that little fuckwit not wanting to play in a band with me. That's crazy. I barely even remember him at all, and I like he didn't want to. Whatever. That sounds kind of familiar.
He plays with my like super conservative ex-guitar teacher.
Okay.
Oh man, he only. I mean, so like, oh man.
Whatever.
Oh, dude, he plays country western only, and he makes a ton of money.
I bet.
And I was like, oh, man. So I guess I should give you this, what happened there, because we really saw each other twice between then, engaged on Facebook a little bit. So I was working with Tanner because he was, like, so good, and he had a rehearsal space, and we could record tracks at his space and stuff. And get this. I went on Craigslist and I was like, looking for a guitarist who likes blues, you know, i.e. Pink Floyd, Black Keys. From Pink Floyd to Black Keys, it's all here. Can you play Black Dog? Okay. And that got some interesting folks. And I met Evan Phelps.
Really?
Who was just at that point, I was like, hey, I'll drive to your house in Alta Mesa. We hung out.
Evan Phelps. Wait. That sounds really familiar.
I'll finish the story.
Okay, yeah.
And so we jammed it. It was a blast. Because, man, dude, Evan was playing in this fucking pop-punk band called No Big Deal. And it was called something else before it. And they were like a Red Mountain band. And they were like a big stuff because they were pop-punk. So, you know, they can play festivals and stuff.
Yeah.
And now that we're just ranting, I'll just burp straight in the mic. And I jammed with him, and it was a blast. And I was like, hey, I've got this drummer. His name's Tanner Siegfried. He's like, oh, I go to school with Tanner. And I was like, okay, cool. So then me and Tanner and Evan started playing together in Tanner's basement, which was just like this padded basement that had like a 16-track audio recorder just set up 24/7. So we could just like dump tracks onto it all the time. And then Tanner met this guy named Colton Avery.
Okay.
Who became a songwriter. That guy became a songwriter for The Script.
Oh, my God. Okay. Got
it. So before he was that, he was hanging out with Tanner and I, and he's like, hey, we should, like, oh, God, dude. I learned how to play some shameful songs, right? Okay, it turns out I used to be Mormon, and then I quit being Mormon. I played for a Christian church, and I learned a bunch of Christian songs to play on guitar, and then I played, church gigs all the time.
Yeah.
And then, so I was playing covers already, and then Colton Avery comes in, and he's like, hey, let's play a bunch of fucking John Mayer songs, Footloose, and, like, some other shit. And some originals. So it's basically like some John Mayer.
Any band who refers to like any part of their music as their originals, I'm out. I'm done. Yeah, that's it.
So we played like a party and like Martini Ranch and like one other.
Oh my
gig.
God, Martini Ranch! Were you at the show? Did you go? I don't think you did. I saw Foxy Shazam there.
I wasn't there, but everyone else was.
Yeah, we all went together. Even fucking Taylor was there for that.
Yeah, she loved that band.
Yeah, that was so good. I got everybody. That was like I always tell her this. Like thank God she didn't go to high school with me. Otherwise, we would have never wound up being a thing. But like I always tell her, I was like, you don't understand. Like I was a missionary for this band. Like I was constantly.
All of a sudden one day, like I came to school on Monday and like all of you were in fucking Foxy Shazam shirts, and I was like, hey, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Martini Ranch was cool. I never got to play there though, because by the time Fan Party started, they were already.
They were gone. Yeah. Also, that like area of town is whack.
Old Town Scottsdale, right?
That's whack. Yeah. There's just golf carts of like drunk people driving.
Oh
around.
No, I used to I delivered pizzas there for a year in Old Town.
Oh, so that was your area?
Well, I used to deliver pizzas in Queen Creek when I was like 18, but then to work for extras as a side job for extra money, because we work Monday through Friday until fucking like 4:00. So I wanted to make some extra money like on the side. So I was like, well, I want to go where the money is if I'm going to get in tips. So I delivered in Old Town. I literally on Scottsdale, on Osborne and Goldwater was where the Pizza Hut is. Yep. So that's where I'm that whole area. Like that was awesome. So yeah, I know I know Old Town like the back of my hand for better or for worse. Dude, there's some like terrifying pieces of Scottsdale that are hidden inside the nice parts of Scottsdale. It's very weird. It's the most like multi-layered small city I've ever been.
Yeah, I think the scariest thing I could think of, like, so like I went to like I can't even think of the rest. I went to like a nice restaurant out there, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's yummy. It's real good. But I'm like, man, that Cornish is probably the scariest restaurant there, because that's like anyone who lives in Scottsdale is like, yeah, this is the alt part of town. And it's like, I guess. But
so okay, wait. So you played Martini Ranch.
Yeah. So we played Martini Ranch and stuff, and then like Colton was like, "Hey, you want to tour?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to tour." And he's like, "Cool, we're gonna tour in like August." And I was like, "I have to go to school." And Tanner was like, "Fuck school, got his GED." Yeah. And I was like, "I'm trying to get, I'm trying to do other things."
My permanent record, bro.
my permanent record. So I didn't, and they met some other people, and they went on a short tour, right? And then I didn't really play with Tanner much after that. And I tried to play with Evan and his buddy Chad, but they, no big deal was booking, and we weren't. And so we played the fucking talent show. Whoopee.
Yeah, all right. So now, why do I know the name Evan Phelps?
You know the name. Okay, that's what I was getting at, because I listened to the Celebration Guns podcast today. I was like, oh, I can't wait to tell Matt this, because you were like, dude, Holy Fawn's awesome. And we're talking about how all of the people we knew before were gone, and now they're kind of showing up. Like you and I are sitting here. Well, Evan Phelps is a guitarist for Holy Fawn.
That's crazy.
He's the front man. He's the
Ryan
other
Osterman's the front man.
Yeah. Alan Penny guy.
That's crazy.
And Evan Phelps, which is hilarious, because Evan and Phelps, when we were freshmen, went to the Winter Solstice by Walking Stick Presents, which was this huge concert at the Nile. And we saw Alan Penny. We're like, that's pretty cool. And I saw Dylan Pratt play the coffee shop version of whatever the Nile is.
Oh, the Volstead. Yeah.
And Evan Phelps loves post rock, but he can play the blues obviously. Like a motherfucker. I miss whenever I play them. It's a blast.
I can't wait. I'm gonna have them. I'm gonna message them immediately and try to get them. Wait, no, I am talking to them right now. Yeah, I'm talking to one of them. I don't know who it is.
Ryan.
I think it's Ryan. Yeah. I'm talking to them right now. We're trying to get something going for December. I want to get them on really, really bad.
Yeah, they're just like ponies. They're just like the kind of people you see at a show and you're like, hey, I love you guys. And like, no, we love you. And it's like, oh, you're so nice.
I love when people know your music and you don't expect it, or people who know your work in general, and you don't expect it. That was the nice thing about the Celebration Guns podcast, was that dude was like, he's like, no, I heard that on episode 7. You already mentioned that. I was like, fuck, you know everything. You already heard it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, That's so crazy. I love seeing that kind of stuff. I love seeing people like pop up and doing stuff. Do you remember the little pop rock band that I was in 2011?
You were talking about it on the last podcast. I went to that show at the Underground. What was it called?
Drive Through Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you borrowed my PV for that.
Yes, I did. That's right. That's right. You were at that show at the Underground.
Yeah.
Was that the night that we played with He Is We?
I don't know. There's probably a lot of shows at the Underground because that's basically the only place any high school band from like anywhere other than Tempe could book.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know if we played that night or if I just went and saw them that night. But Drive Through Thursday played with He Is We back when they were just like nobodies, and now I guess they're like a huge deal. But I don't know. I didn't know that. Dude, it's so crazy how like you talk about stuff like this and it just like digs up pieces of your memory that you would have died without remembering. Like
I have so much bullshit memories that I'm like, get rid of that. Like index ditch. Like it's just like
I used to buy cigarettes from the pump. Do you remember her?
Oh, Horsney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was oof. Oh, I had a friend who was like close friends with her early on, and I was like, this person is intense, if not toxic. Like
it's super intense.
Do you remember when her sister curbed her like lifted F-150 in the lot?
Yeah.
Oh, she drifted an F-150 on like 22s through like the parking lot and curbed it and broke both the axles. Oh man,
she's gone. She completely disappeared off social media.
That's
almost
man,
a lot of. I'm
that's a high school
how
thing.
Many people did,
dude. If I were to use statistics just from our high school, how many people just vaporize into the void? It's like kind of scary because I'm like, yo, like for all the racist motherfuckers that are showing up on my Facebook from high school, what about all the people that are not?
I know.
Because there's so many that are gone.
Yeah, I think about that all the time because there's people who I would like have legitimate connections with or who I, for a small amount of time, had connections with who are just, they're completely gone. I can't find them anywhere. And she's one of those people for sure. They're like, I don't know. There's a couple people. Okay, hold on. I'm going to write something down right now because there's something.
You might be able to find her on Instagram. She was an early adopter of trap music. I mean, she was listening to some fucking hard-ass rap, I remember. I was just like, damn, because my friend Jesse was friends with her, and he was like, yeah, often showed me this music. I was like, this is intense.
Hold on. I'm just like there's a note that I want to ask you about after the show because you're the only person who I know will absolutely have the answer for that, but I can't talk about it on the air. We'll talk about it afterwards. But yeah, dude, it's crazy. And then there's other people who like, one of the things that I really like is seeing the progression. I think the reason I like it is because I see it myself. Like I saw myself wean into being an actual human being. What?
So that's the band Ween.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yes.
That's like one of the weirdest singing.
Like I got to. Yeah, you're fine. I loved seeing myself. Like I'm proud of myself because I managed to like I'll worm myself instead of wean myself out of being an asshole into being like, or what I considered. I'm very hard on myself. Consider what I consider to be an asshole into being like what I consider to be like a functioning human. And I love seeing that in other people we went to school with too. Mm-hmm. Like especially people who like used to troll hard on the internet and ended up just kind of being like cool as they go older. Like Danny. Danny's a great example of that. Like Danny ended up like
Danny went through some shit.
Yeah, I know, but he's starting to kind of like he instead of trolling on every single nice thing that I write, he's like starting to like heart all the nice things that I write. You know, little things like that. It's super like dumb and specific, but whatever.
I see Ethan's name on the tip top of my feed all the fucking time, which is like, and he's like the only one who's like posted some like shit I relate to, but also like edgy. Like I'm like I wouldn't say that, but that's kind of funny. Man, dude, the last time I saw Ian, this is a good story. We went and saw the Black Dahlia murder on like the evening of Easter.
Where?
Easter's Eve. At the Nile.
Of course.
And like it was but dude, it was like it wasn't the there we go. It wasn't there was just Black Dahlia Murder Skeleton which was playing.
Oh my fucking god. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Actually I like both
and like
bands.
Literally 5 minutes in, Ian fucking gets trampled and chipped his front tooth.
Oh shit. Dude, okay, when we played the Underground when I was in Drive Through Thursday. And I remember once we went. Okay, that was back when you could go upstairs and see shows at the Nile and come back down. Mm-hmm. Like you could just like pimp your way up and have a good time. Well, we were playing down. I don't know if it was a show you went to or not, but upstairs, Chelsea Grin, Whitechapel.
I think that was the same night.
And Veil of Maya were all playing upstairs. So like we would just go up there and get bludgeoned by these huge alpha males. And then because like the Chelsea Grin crowd was a lot of just like little like emo boys, but like those Whitechapel dudes were big.
Dude, do you remember Tyler White? Man, I had him in music theory, and he was like, Nick Nerone had like
Nick Nerone.
he had tiny gauges,
okay,
and like Tyler White was the guy who had like the fucking like $50 for gauges.
Got it.
Redhead.
I found him.
He looks like the guy from fucking what are they called? Oh,
I totally do. Yeah.
Man, what's that?
I remember him.
Man, Out Getting Ribs is their song.
I remember this guy.
What is his name? What is the guy who sings Out Getting Ribs?
I don't know what that song that is. What's Out Getting Ribs?
Oh, I don't want to touch.
Here, I'll Google it.
I have to pee so bad.
Oh,
all this beer. I got 3 beers.
Go pee. You're totally good. Oh, it's Zoo Kid? King Cruel?
King Cruel.
Okay. He looks like King Cruel. He looks like King Cruel.
Or King Cruel looks like King because this guy's way older.
This is so funny. Alicia, like, it's so funny. Like, every time he would mention someone's name that Alicia knows, she's like over here silent, like, it's so fucking funny that he brought that up. And Nick Nerone. Oh, this is hilarious. No, we don't. This is just because you want to talk shit. I don't care. This is all like ancient history. If people were talking shit, we're not even like saying anything mean. We're just like laughing at these like names. No one, literally 0 of those people are going to listen to this, so I'm not even worried about it. It's not like I said some awful things that Dylan's in the background that Dylan and I have said before. Yeah, this is so hilarious. What? Past life. Yeah, this is a weird past life. Hold on, I think I'm gonna pause it real quick until he gets back. All right, and we're back. But you just started to say something.
Oh, well, it was stuff for off air. I just feel like it gave you a lot of disorienting.
No, you're good.
Sonoran Chorus stuff. Just like, I'm sorry, Troy.
No, dude, I'm having so much fun. That's what this is supposed to be. Just like kicking back and having a good time.
You can probably edit it all together.
Oh yeah, I can change whatever. It's gonna
I'm bad at interrupting.
You're fine. No, you're fine.
No, it's something I need to.
No. She has to work on. What were you saying? You have to.
You get over here. You need a mic if you say.
Yeah, that's so fucking funny. I remember Nick Nerone coming in and like destroying on the fucking marimba. He was
double mallet lord.
Yeah, double mallet, man. He would like. Well, okay. Well, I'm going to here in a little bit because I feel like we're getting into territory where I just want to talk about so much stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about. Like when we're like, because it's just too much. But
I'm all for conversation.
I know. I
can just run my fucking mouth. I can't talk about Sonoran Chorus because I'm just like, yeah, it's a band I'm in. I guess it's like. I don't know. I kind of like it. Some people like it more than I do.
Okay. Well, before we end the show, are you guys working on a podcast?
We're at the Sonoran Chorus podcast where we just chum out.
Are you guys working on an EP or anything right now? Are you gonna put out some new music?
So I mean, like the past few practices, we've been working on some new songs.
Cool. That's awesome.
Mitchell Hillman told us to make a full length, just like the last band.
I do literally. I will do anything Mitchell Hillman tells me to do every day of the week.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have him on. Goddamn it, I haven't even asked him yet.
Yeah, you gotta get him on here. As for a guy who like writes typically like very like tons of feedback, but also pretty much entirely positive.
Oh yeah, completely.
Like he was like, "Which full length?" And I was like, "Shit, this guy." Pretty much only writes positive reviews, and he just told us to do something that he's mad about.
Dude, I
better listen to him.
Have you like actually like hung out with him before? Like ran into him and talked to him?
No, but like he ended up going to the auto shop Damon used to work at. So like Damon was like, "Oh, hey."
I run into him all the time because he works on Mill, I think, or he hangs out on. He's always on Mill. So anytime her and I are hanging out on Mill, we'll run into him. It's like, "Oh, Mitchell." He's like, "All right." Like he's just like,
he's a cool cat. I don't know what he does. He's one of the few people I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you do.
Yeah, I think he just writes. I think that's his whole gig.
That's awesome.
But like I've ran into him at a few shows. He's come out to a few Phantom Party shows before. Super amazing guy. I'm gonna get him on this podcast because when I met him at Rebel, so he saw us play one of our worst shows. It was us, Apaches, and Paper Foxes, and I think one other band who I didn't know. And in what? It was just those three. So yeah, it was great. It was great. It was not great. It was awful. But Austin almost died in the parking lot because he ate a giant chicken wing and choked on it. And he was too timid to tell us that he was choking, so he just ended up like trying to force himself to throw up.
God.
So
That's brutal.
And then we told that.
To tell you I'm dying.
Yeah, we told that story on stage too. I did. I
told no!
I had to. It was super
I love telling stories on Rebel Lounge stage because you can't see a goddamn person in that entire fucking place.
Oh yeah. So told the story on stage, and it was super fun. And then Austin's like drum head broke. It was just a rough night. And we're hanging out with Mitchell afterwards, and it's so nice to put a name to a face. And he's one of those guys who has a story that's better than any story you have about literally everything you ever want to talk about, which is why he's perfect to put on a podcast. Like, for instance, you would give him a topic. Like, I would say, oh, you know what? Like Austin would be like, yeah, I'm really into like grunge. He's like, dude, I saw all these bands I've never heard of, all these like super obscure Seattle bands that only Austin knows about, you know, like he's like, I saw all these bands play and like it was so great. And then I would say like, oh, I'm really into hardcore punk, especially from like the East Coast. He's like, I've got fucking, I can't do his accent, but he's like, I've got Ian MacKay's blood on my Doc Martens from seeing Minor Threat in like 1981. And it's like, fuck, but he's not bullshitting. Like, it's totally legitimate. He's just crazy. Like, he's just seen everything.
Yeah, man, you gotta talk to a guy who's like that. Is Eamon from Proteins.
Oh, dude, we played a show at Proteins a long time ago.
Yeah, and
before I knew they were a big deal.
And Eamon Ford, we do all of our recording with him, and he's
okay.
You talk to him, and it's just like you're like, yeah, the story, and he's like, yeah, my story too, and you're just like, wow, that's way cooler, man. And he's always like, and like I meet people who have heard other stories from him that I haven't heard yet, and like, I'm just, Jesus, man, like he's in the same sense as Mitchell Hillman. It's just like, wow,
what a great
truly
dude.
Lived.
So you're working on some. So no definite plans for recording something, but you've got like
we'll record something.
Well, I know you will, but like you're just writing right now.
Yeah, we're just writing some stuff.
I'm so happy you guys are back. This is awesome. People are gonna be so excited.
It's gonna be so fun.
I am so.
And I'm so glad it's in the winter time.
Yeah,
we can wear jackets. You know, like maybe some steam will come out of trunk space.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. I played some house shows where like we've opened a window and it's like there's steam coming out of that room, like or vapor. You know, just like condensation is really what it is.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Human dust.
I'm going to fucking wrap up the show because there's so many things that I want to talk to you about right now that I have to. And we're almost at 2 hours, which is pretty crazy for, like, I haven't had a 2-hour podcast since Anthony Fama from Redemptions. That was the last time I had, like, a long-ass conversation like this. Love fucking wacky, wonderful dude. Anyway, so thank you for coming over and hanging out. We've got to actually like legitimately do this again and like hang out.
Yeah, I hope I was coherent enough.
Oh, you're completely coherent. You're totally coherent. I fucking miss the hell out of you. Like before I go, I want to mention something really really quick. Like one little final note that I like had to make. Oh. There it is. So like one last thing before I go, like, not to get too sentimental, but you in high school were always kind of this person who I held myself to as like a moral compass. Like, which is super heavy, I know, right?
Because I was Mormon.
No, it's not that. It's not, I promise. So, like, you always had this, like, seemingly easy ability to just, like, be warm and friendly, and you were welcoming to everybody, and you were super nice. And I always, like, looked up to you as, like, this person of, like, man, I wish I could be more like that. Like, I wish I could be more nice and more open, less trying to offend people for game. Like, I wish I could just be, like, I wish I could be more like Alex, and I wish I had more people like you around when I was younger. So it's, like, I just wanted to say, like, thank you for being one of the only people in my life who I could look at as like a positive influence. Like obviously like Andrew was amazing and they were all great, but like we didn't hang out outside of school a whole lot other than to go to events. Like we'd go to movies together or we'd go to shows together, but we wouldn't like chill at each other's houses a whole ton, you know what I mean? Like we'd see movies and stuff, but like you and me would like hang out and like talk and like get deep on stuff. And I don't know. I just wanted to say, like, thank you for being one of the only good, like, really positive people who I was able to do that with at that time.
I mean,
you were so fucking nice.
You and I were the outliers, man. I mean, I don't mean to say it like that, but, like, Andrew's one of my best friends now, but, like, I never spent any time with them.
Yeah.
So it's the same on you. I mean, we were the two that were hanging out.
Yeah.
Because no one was hanging out with us.
This was just such an odd, like when you look at it, kind of such an odd coupling of like people. Like this kid who's like you, who was like super friendly, super, everyone knows who you were, like super popular dude, like really fun, always brought his guitar to school.
Oh God. Oh, don't even say that. That just super popular just brings his guitar to school. I mean, I don't know. The way I see it, it's just like...
And then, like, I was like... What we've always said some inflammatory things about my character. And it's just like... But somehow, like, you and me were just, like, vibing. Like, having a great time. And it was just super fun.
Yeah, I miss it.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, you live in Tempe.
I live fucking down the street.
Where do you live
at? Fairmont.
Got it.
So I'm a street from backing up to the Fries.
Okay, got it.
So.
That's super easy. All right. Well, anyway, I had to mention that because I haven't seen you in a long time, and having you, knowing that you were going to be on the podcast, I was like, it got me thinking and jotted my memory. Obviously not about that kid we jammed with, but it got me.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
it jotted my memory to just be like, damn, like he was a fucking really important character who I just really fell away from. So anyway, just thank you. Just thank you for existing and being a nice dude.
Yeah, damn.
And for fucking coming on and being in a great band. I posted that little like thing about how you're going to be on the podcast, and fucking Peter Zindes from Sad Dance Party was like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited they're back. I don't know. That's not his voice. I don't know why I did voice like that. He doesn't sound like that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna fucking end it now. Thank you so much, man, for coming over. I really, really, really appreciate
it's been a blast. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, we'll have to get you the whole band on here at some point. I got the mics for it. We'll have to get together. I just wanted to talk to you because I already know you.
It's been an eternity.
Yeah, it's been an eternity. All right, man. Well, thank you so much. I'll see you around, man. Thank you guys for listening, as always. If you made it to the end, I always say this, man. Like, if you made it all the way to the end of the podcast, you're absolutely amazing, and you're absolutely wondering who the fuck are all these people that they're talking about, or you're thinking to yourself,
"Oh no,
God, these guys are dicks." I know. Oh, whatever. I can fix that. All right. Thank you guys so much. Goodbye. And that's the end. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know that one was definitely wild with all of the cuts and weird, crazy volume changes and things like that. But we got a little carried away and said a lot of full names. We weren't really paying attention to that. So thank you for bearing with it if you made it this far. I love Alex to death. I'm so happy that hopefully you liked him too. He's a real sweetheart guy. Give Sonoran Chorus all of your love and all of your money, and tell him I sent you.